be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
FT Live, still taking over Cincinnati, and we're coming at you from right across the street from Great American Ballpark. Scotty Braun and the Reds legends next to me, Danny Graves and Todd Frazier. We're opening up the BetMGM Sportsbook right across the street. A lot of people all around town right now and in this area because they're playing ball right now.
They're playing balls right.
Hunter Green's playing ball right now.
He's dominating right now. You know, they got that loss yesterday, but the biggest thing is you got to win series right now. If you're not winning series, there's going to be trouble, especially with, 11 games left, 10 games. So got to find a way to win today.
Big swing game today.
Yeah, when they say, a lot of people say momentum is as good as your next day starter. Mm-hmm. And Hunter Green, the way that he's starting, that should get some momentum for Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. We had a great time at the game last night, all of us hanging out. It was really fun. So cheers and props to the Reds for hosting us last night. And also, again, props to the brand new BetMGM Sportsbook right across the street from the main entrance of the ballpark, and a little food so Todd Father's not hangry and cranky with the whole show.
You know how I get. Of course.
Nation Kitchen and Bar bringing us a sneak peek of the food that you'll be able to have right here at the BetMGM Sportsbook at the Banks coming up this fall. So look out for that. And we officially opened this place up. And yes, like these guys mentioned, the Reds were handled yesterday by the Twins. Also, Willie Castro with a great catch in center field. Oof. He's been doing that lately.
Two of them.
With his scouting report in his hand, too.
That was amazing.
That's
crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
Twins did suffer some losses, though. Royce Lewis seems like he's day-to-day with the hammy, but Carlos Correa back on the IL, plantar fasciitis. He's had a tough time getting things going this year. He's been pretty banged up.
It's unfortunate, too, man, because could you imagine if – like how much better the Twins would be if he was fully healthy all year long and the numbers that he would have been putting up. But I think just his presence in that locker room, you know, for guys like Royce Lewis and Castro, all the younger guys, it's a huge loss, but hopefully he's going to continue to be there with the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And hamstring, I mean, I've had a hamstring before. I don't know. You ever tweak your hammy?
I don't have hammies.
You got slammies. That's what you got. Hey, anything as slight as a little tweak, it takes 3 to 5 weeks. I mean, listen, if you want this thing to fully heal, I remember weeks? I had a grade 1, and they're saying 25 days at least. If to not do anything, a little rehab, little rub and tug here, making sure it's good. Hammies are no joke, man. Just like calves. I mean, you've seen with Mike Trout how long it took for him to get back. So if they're trying to make a push at this, I mean, are they going to push him through this? Only speculation, but yeah. I've been there before with hammies. They're no joke.
Do you think like you could pinch hit with a hammy?
Yeah, but it was just running wise.
Yeah.
Running wise was like, all right, well, you're going to get a hard jog from me. You're not getting 100%.
Right.
If I got to leg out a double, I'm probably just rounding first and just chilling.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, so we're going to talk to Max Muncy coming up in about 10 minutes. Ken Rosenthal, top of hour 2. Freddy Peralta also will join us a little bit later on. He suffered that loss against Waino, but it was, kind of good for the sport. 200th win for Waino, which we talked about. If you missed any of that, that's on the Tuesday show or the Tuesday pod. Let's charge the damn mound right now, and let's give some love to the Atlanta Braves, and specifically Todd's boy, Ronald Acuña Jr., who's now 1 home run away from 40. He also swiped a bag, so he's at 67 stolen bases, 39 home runs. It was his bat flip bobblehead night, too. First pitch he saw of the night. Dinger. And the one other thing I want to point out, Todd Father, he's played in 149 out of 151 games. Missed a couple this weekend with the calf.
Yeah.
But then he's like right back in there. He does not want to miss games.
No, it goes to show you, especially after an injury too, a big injury, what he had. Maybe you'd want to like teeter back and be like, hey, listen, I'll take the day. We'll take a couple more days off and just, relax. Going, no, he's on cruise control right now. He's having a great year. The second home run was even better. He went to dead center on the line. And looks like he's going to get hopefully, knock on wood, my 70th stolen base. That might be my only bet that comes true this year.
He's getting that. That's a no-brainer. But just imagine, like, when you were a kid playing stickball or street football, whatever you played growing up, you didn't want to miss a day, right?
No.
Well, this game is like that to him. It's a little kid's game, and he's just dominating it. So I think fans love it that he wants to be out there every single day.
The Braves set that tone too. The Braves are not big on resting up their guys. They go, hey, you want to play every day? Play every day.
Yeah.
We don't want to mess with that. You stay on the field. You're giving it your all. You feel close to 100% or whatever you feel at this point in the season. Go for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they're going to rest their guys too much even for the rest of the season when they should have that top overall seed locked up with another 10 days to go.
And they're smoking hot. I mean, you think about it. Marcell Ozuna, 3 hits, 3 RBI. They just produced Spencer Strider 11 Ks last night. This squad is ready to go, man. And, hopefully, here, oh, man, they're hot at the wrong times. I don't care. Keep it rocking, keep it rolling. I would not want to play the Braves anytime soon, later, in between, down the road, in the winter. It don't matter to me. They're good.
Yeah, the only time you can say they're hot at the wrong time is if they do rest them, right? When you're hot, you want to keep it. You want to keep hitting. Give me a bat.
Of course.
Yeah, this is a heavy favorite because we don't always have that heading into the playoffs. This is a pretty heavy favorite.
Yeah.
To win a World Series.
For a while, I'd say.
It's been almost the entire year. I mean, you had the Rays grabbing the spotlight in the first month or so with that super hot undefeated start. What was it, 13-0? Feels like a billion years ago. But
yeah, right.
They picked up a nice dub over a division rival that they certainly want to handle this year if they face him in the playoffs. And Michael Lorenzen, who had the no-hitter, now he's been struggling. He came in relief, gave up a few hits, a few walks. Braves really pounced in that inning. So we'll see what happens in the rest of the series. Shohei Ohtani, we did not make it a day or a show without talking about him. But pretty big news popped up. Got surgery done. Now, I can't call it Tommy John because that's not what it is. And I'm not going to act like I'm a doctor, but we'll read a little bit about an internal brace inserted into the elbow and that the ligament was repaired. And we can show you some tweets here from Jeff Fletcher, who covers the team every day for the Orange County Register. So it was a procedure in LA. This occurred on Tuesday, and it was a statement released by his agent, which I will say is a little bit unique. Usually the team releases the statement about the injury, but I guess because he's leaving and, his group's been in control, and in my mind, it's still been a weird communication process. This is what his agent said. Didn't specify the exact procedure. Said, Ohtani, this is the important part, will be ready to hit on opening day of 2024 and pitch in 2025. And it was Dr. Neil Elitrash, who's been around for a while. He performed the procedure, and then Fletcher goes on to say, in chatting quickly with a few people about the description attributed to Elitrash in the statement, this was not a traditional Tommy John surgery with a reconstruction. It was a repair. Still won't pitch till 2025. It speeds up the rehab slightly on the hitting side. Danny, you pitched. So you didn't hit 50 bombs in the bigs, but what does this mean in your mind?
Well, that means he's going to hit 70 bombs next year. Now that he's only concentrating on hitting and saving energy just for hitting. I mean, I get it. You want this guy wherever he's going. His agent wants him to play wherever for a long time and make a ton of money. But you got to make sure that he's right in his arm. Obviously, you can still hit with certain arm injuries, but I think you have to have Shohei on both sides at some point. And if that's not until 2025, fine. But if he's going to be on the field in 2024, watch out. Don't pitch to him because you're going to give it up to him. I mean, he's going to be so locked in hitting.
Not a traditional Tommy John surgery with reconstruction. It was a repair. That's the first I've heard of that. When you bring up Tommy John, for me, it's like, all right, the world's coming to an end. Like you're done for a year. But I mean, I don't know what a repair is. Did they just go around, like I've had my knee surgery done, but they trimmed around where the meniscus was. They didn't say it was a full meniscus tear. So I want to know more details about what really is going on with his arm. But whatever they did, hopefully he never has this problem again. Because for me, I mean, Tommy John is Tommy John. Whenever I hear this, he's out for the year. They're saying until 25. Yeah. Now, what does he have to do? He's going to come to the ballpark early. He's going to do his rehab. He's going to get ready to hit. It's going to be long days for him each and every day.
Yeah, and I think he'll be okay with that. But to me, like the wording there, whatever it is, that's to let all you teams know that I'm going to be fine. Yeah. It's not a total Tommy John. They used to call it a scope, right? Like it used to get a cleanup.
It's cleanup. Yeah, that's what I was getting to.
This seems a little more than a cleanup, obviously, if you can't pitch until 2025. But this is like contract talk, in my opinion.
And everything he does
Great
is
call by you.
mysterious. Contract talk. Yeah, I
Great
mean,
call.
that's coming up. And a lot
Didn't
of
even
things
think
that he
of that.
does is mysterious, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't get a lot of information often, and it's very carefully crafted. And I'll say again,
I see it. I see it in the message. Jeff,
What?
who did he talk to, Jeff? He didn't talk to anybody in the brass. And in my opinion,
His
he
agent.
probably talked to his agent.
His agent, yeah.
100%. I would have to agree.
Yeah.
I wish they would just play. I talked to, Boris. I talked to, Joe Schmo. Like, listen,
Yeah.
why
yeah,
is
but they won't
everything-
they won't put
yeah.
their name on it.
But
Right.
do it like this.
I've
this
done
is
that.
the
I've
new,
talked to
yeah.
plenty of agents, especially this
Hey,
year.
you could put this out there, but don't,
But don't put my name on
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It's so
I mean, I think
mysterious.
you can read between the lines.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I'll say it one more time. He's doing his thing with his
Yeah.
camp at this point because
Understood.
he's leaving.
Yeah.
So he's not working hand in hand with the org. You know what I'm saying?
I just want
It's
to know
not
where
like
the
he's
war-
got to call the agents, be like, hey, let's talk about the statement we're going to put out together. It's just
Yeah.
like, hey, my agent's going to put out a statement. You can put it out so that
Yeah.
you guys can communicate it.
I
You know
just
what I'm
want to
saying?
know where the water bottle went. I want it signed, and I want it on the show.
Maybe
That he
it was
chucked in the
Rendon
trash.
that started the water bottle thing. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, let me ask you this
Nobody.
about Ohtani. Now knowing this, right? Now the news is official that he won't pitch next year.
Yeah.
Does that affect anything with the offseason pursuit by teams? Does it affect the way the contracts are offered?
I would say so. I would say 100%. And I'm sure he wants to be locked down for a long time. I'm sure that taken into consideration, I'm sure that's going to be a bump off of what he wants.
Do you think so, though?
I do.
Well,
I
because
do.
here's my counter to that.
Yeah.
Ready?
Go ahead.
How many teams want him?
If
Right?
I was
So if you call me,
Yeah,
right,
every-
and you go, hey, Shohei, it's the Dodgers. So since you're not going to pitch next year, we think you're worth 480, or we're going to dock a year down, or we're going to put something incentive laden. And you know what I'm going to say? Oh, that's cool. I got 14 other teams on the line. I'll call you back never.
How do we know he's going to come back fully 100% from this and pitch the way he did?
We don't.
There's still uncertainty. And that's why I say the money might be a little different from what he wants into what a team wants. And of course, you're right. There's going to be 14 other, 15, 6. Every
29.
Dude, he's got too much leverage. That's my
I got
point.
it. And
You
they're
know
going
what
to
I'm
make
saying?
tons of money
Yeah.
just on sales alone with jerseys and who he is.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's that uncertainty that we don't know.
But can I be his agent for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't think
You want
that
me to be a team?
yes,
Okay.
You love this, Scott.
Dodgers on the line.
hey, Dodgers, yeah, he's not going to pitch next year, but he's probably going to hit 60 to 70 home runs. He's going to be great for the community. You know how much money you can make on the side. So whatever you want to pay me now, you're going to have to compete with 28 other teams because we know the Angels don't want you.
Yeah. No,
I'll-
the Angels do want me.
well, they're not going to afford him. Like,
Right.
He doesn't want to go back to the Angels.
I think it's that. He
Yeah.
just wants to win.
Yeah.
I think there's probably 10 teams ruled out for
right.
being bad at baseball.
Right. So guess what? When I come back and I'm ready to throw in 2025, or when
Okay.
Shohei is, he's going to be that much better, that much fresher. He's going to have more bullets in the tank, and he's going to be the best pitcher because this is not a Tommy John. This is like a tune-up, and he's had extra time to rehab and get this thing stronger.
I'm going to stop you there. You don't even have to convince me on the TJ. I know how many teams are calling you and offering you money. We're giving you what you want, dude.
See,
I don't think
And
there
is
has
your-
to be
is your
that
name
much
Steve Cohen?
convincing. It could be.
Yeah.
Why? Because what's he throwing
you're
out
still
there?
on the phone, by the way.
I'm calling now. My name's Steve. How are you?
Well, John Harper, who writes for SNY, quote, if the Japanese superstar is willing, every baseball person I spoke to fully expects that owner Steve Cohen would make the biggest offer, even if Ohtani won't pitch in 24. And even though the Mets have indicated they may not be all in next season after their sell-off
They're all
at the trade deadline. My only thing on that front is I do believe in this. Think that the numbers are going to be close enough from a number of teams that he's going to go, can you guarantee me the playoffs next year? Because that is the number one
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
important thing to me because I know I'm going to get paid. I think he's going to get multiple $500 million offers. And if
Yeah.
the Dodgers throw money out there, it's not even just about the location. They can guarantee the playoffs probably better than any ball club.
Well, them
like
or the
them and the
Braves.
Braves. Yeah, but the Braves, I don't think will necessarily pay for that.
Right.
Who knows? I mean, this is such a unique case, but that's my take is that he's got to go to a team that's going to make the playoffs next year. Like,
Yeah.
Todd Father, can you guarantee me the Mets are going to make the playoffs next
You
year?
can't guarantee anything.
Right. What
You can't though. That's
What are the
thing.
chances though? It's not like the Mets roster right now needs a lot of work. That's
And-
not a playoff team. Clearly, they bombed
need,
this season.
besides Senga, they need some pitching.
Yeah.
And he's throwing today, which is great. Hopefully, makes me look good by saying that. But
no, he's been great.
They need pitching, dude, and Shohei's not pitching next year, so there's another thing. So they'll need another pitcher. So I don't know. I think Steve, they talk about, oh no, not this in 2025. We're going to take a break. Man, this guy ain't taking a break, dude. If he's there and if they see a ballpark Ranger where they could be, he's going after him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's going after him, but like you said, he's got to go somewhere where 99% chance of making the playoffs.
Yes, it's got to be real strong.
Yeah.
And you're not getting a pitcher for a year. So let me see what your pitching staff looks like. It's a good point.
Exactly.
I'll still give you whatever you want.
You?
I'll still give Shohei whatever he wants.
Well, that's what every team's not every team, but every team that wants to pay money is going to do. All right, let's get to the Blue Jays. They win a 4th consecutive game, keep up in the AL wildcard race, which has been insane and continues to be so. Because teams aren't running away with things either. Like the Blue Jays had a terrible week last week, losing 4 in a row to the Rangers. And now they pick up 4 in a row right now. They take down the Red Sox. Or actually, sorry, the Rangers take down the Red Sox, but Toronto takes down the Yankees 7-1. Springer on his birthday does what he usually does, lead off home run. Bo homered. Alejandro Kirk homered. And most importantly, and this is big for me with Toronto this year, we've talked about Manoah and how he hasn't been a factor for the team, and he's not with them really for the second half and wasn't good in the first half. You know who was terrible for them last year and has been great when he's been on the mound for them this year?
Barrios.
Yes,
Barrios,
correct. I got another one for you. Yusei Kikuchi. He has been good. And yesterday, again, 5 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. The only problem was he had to leave a little bit early with cramping. And this is a story that swept social media last night. Caitlin McGrath covers the team for The Athletic, said, Kikuchi thinks he'll be fine for his next start after he left the game with cramps. The biggest revelation was that he said it may have been caused by only getting 11 hours of sleep last night instead of his usual 13 or 14 hours. I'm sorry, what?
Hey, that's something you do with like an infant child. You want him to sleep as long as possible.
Yeah.
Listen, I wish I could do what he does.
Yeah.
13 or 14? How many hours do you guys get? How many did you get when you were playing?
I
don't remember.
I would say
days.
10 or 11.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just depends on when I went to sleep. But, I would say close to at least 10.
On the road
on
about
a good
10.
day. Yeah, on the road 10.
At home, like 6.
6?
Kids waking you up. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
6
my wife was good at it because she knew I had to play. You only had to play in the 9th inning.
Yeah,
so.
my wife wasn't good at it. That's why I'm not married to her anymore. I'm just kidding.
Hey, talk about whatever you want on the show.
Yeah.
It happens.
Different
It happens, all right?
Yeah.
Might
Hey,
create a
Reds
media
Hall of
battle.
Famer. It's all good.
Exactly. But that's half what Kikuchi pulled off. So actually, we'll ask Max Muncy, who's going to join us coming up in a sec, about this because I'm curious now on the sleep hours, what guys are getting nowadays.
Yeah.
14 means you're only awake for 10. It's
It doesn't make
blowing my
sense.
mind. So let's do our poll question, and then Max Muncy is going to join us on the other side. The 2024 AL MVP will be, and we'll give you some options. The reason we put this out there is Ohtani suddenly is not a unicorn next year, so he's just a hitter. So is it Ohtani, Corey Seager, Kyle Tucker, Cody Bellinger, or someone else? So vote at watchstadium.com/foul territory. You might be a little confused. Remember, Bellinger's free agent, Ohtani's free agent. Are they going to be even in the AL? Think about it. Max Muncy next.
So before you became a Twin, though, you knew about the history of these players, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because I know a lot of times players these days they don't know who was there before them or even on other teams, but
Right.
you already know the legends of the game.
I grew up loving this game. I love it. Like I told my dad when I was young, and he told me, you can't be a fan of, Tigers one day, Dodgers the next day, because we'd go to the Angels games because it's closest, and we'd watch, Yankees come into town, Red Sox, whoever. And I always said, like, yeah, I like that player. I like this player.
Yeah.
And he was like, you got to just, you love the game and you love these attributes that these guys have.
Yeah.
He's like, just learn from them, don't, say you like the Tigers one day and then the next day you like the Red Sox.
True.
And so I just started enjoying the players. And one of my favorite players growing up, because Torrey came from Minnesota to Angels, was Torrey Hunter. And so getting to meet him now and have him be a mentor of mine is so special. And then Matt Kemp being on the Dodgers was really special for me to watch. Derek Jeter, obviously, on the Yankees. And then his family situation. He has biracial family, and that's the same as me. And so he was my idol. I wanted to be him. I wanted to be the next Derek Jeter.
Okay. Danny's Derek. Okay. Give me set the scene. What would you do? Like suddenly Derek Jeter's sitting next to you. You came on the show for a sec.
Wow.
Like, what are you doing? And what are you saying? If Derek's just kind of quiet there, like you can be Derek, just like, hey, what's up? Hey, I watched you play. You're good.
Hey man, don't bring up anything that I did off the field.
That is not what he
Keep
would
it
say.
down. Keep it down.
Keep it down.
Oh,
I've got a family.
I guess I would say, man, it's great to meet you. I really appreciate everything you did and accomplished in this game. How you handled yourself on and off the field, whether it was in the papers or not. It truly made me the best version of myself, and I really appreciate it.
And now back to Foul Territory.
It's FT Live on Stadium. Braun, Frazier, Graves, and our first guest of the day. It's LA Dodgers slugger, Mr. Walkoff, Max Muncy, joining us right now. Max, great to see you, dude. And before we get to all the game action, I do have a question that I want to spill over from our last combo. How many hours of sleep per night do you get? And did you hear us talk about Yusei Kikuchi's insane sleep schedule?
My answer to that is not 11. I'll tell you that.
So not 13 or 14 either, which is how much he's getting per night. And he said he had cramping because he only got to 11.
Yeah, definitely not that amount.
Give me a guess. An average during the season. An average.
When I'm at home, we're looking at, if it's a good night with the kids, we're looking at 7 to 8 hours probably.
Okay. And a bad night? I don't want to know.
Not that.
Unbelievable. Yeah, when you have an infant, man, it's tough to do, man. Been down that road, understandably. Hey, let me ask you this: if you had to pick right now, who's the NL MVP in your eyes?
Well, that's tough for me. If you go off of offense only, it's definitely Acuña. But it's the most valuable player. You're talking about defense also. So to me, when you add in what Mookie brings to the table with defense, it's really a tough call.
Max, you think Freddie's in that conversation too, right? I mean, with Mookie.
Yeah, absolutely.
They should have.
Freddie's about to have more doubles than anyone's had in the last 30 years, something like that.
Century. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great race this year.
It's going to be an unbelievable
and it's two
race.
dudes on two different teams,
Yeah, I think right now with the stolen bases that Acuña has, that's pretty phenomenal too as well. I mean, you can't be wrong with either choice. I think that's the toughest part. You got 4 or 5 guys you could put in a hat and flip out one, and it's just like I think you're happy to have 2 of them on your team, I would assume.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not complaining about that. It's been fun to watch. It's been great for the sport of baseball. What Acuña's been doing with the stolen bases and everything has been, it's really eye-popping. Freddie got into a pretty elite club the other night, getting his 20th stolen base, so that's cool to watch also.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to you, Mr. Walkoff. Do those get old for you at all? And can you take us through the exact agenda for you after you pull off an accomplishment like that, which obviously is super cool individually, but for the team? What's the moment that happens? Are you looking around nobody, smoked me, nobody hit me too hard. We got a long way to go here still. Because that was actually pretty tame. It looks like, you guys have done this once or 100 times.
Yeah, we've definitely done it quite a few times, but it was more just, hey, we got the job done, time to celebrate it a little bit and, just enjoy it. We would kind of have our thing we do in the clubhouse after we win a series. So that was really more what everyone was focused on, was what we did in the clubhouse. And then most important thing for me is don't get surprised by that water bucket. You got to spot who's bringing that thing out, and don't get surprised by it.
What's the clubhouse thing that you guys do? Because I saw you guys on the road when you clinched have all the neon lighting lined up in the clubhouse. I'm a big fan, but what's the deal?
Yeah,
is it something that we can talk about?
It's Club Dub. You get the lights off, you get the neon lights going, the smoke machine. We have a bubble machine, which is great for the kids that come in the clubhouse. They like to chase all the bubbles around. It's just we have a good time in there.
So is it safer to, when you're rounding first and the winning run scores, is it safer just to take your jersey out for them? Or is that a no-no?
Yeah, I mean that could be that could be a tactic you go with. Just start unbuttoning your jersey right away.
Yeah.
That way it rips off easier. It's sometimes those buttons hold pretty good.
I just fear like a neck being like snapped back, trying to rip that jersey off. So help him out, right?
Yeah, what's funny is there's always the one guy that tries to get the cheap shots in there, just throw a jab into the stomach. There's always that one guy.
Is that Kike?
No,
Oh.
last night was pretty tame. Although someone got me with a rosin bag pretty good. I don't know who did that.
Wow.
Well, there's good news.
Rosin.
Everything is on video these
Yeah.
days. So if you need to, hit the replay room before the game, you'll be able to find out, just in case you have to return the favor at some point, over the next few weeks. We'll see what happens. All right.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this, because, you've played the Braves. We've talked about them. Obviously, it'd be really cool if your two teams meet up in the playoffs. It was a great battle. Who do you think, besides the Braves, is the best team that you've seen this year in terms of, talent and overall, a team where you're like, damn, they'd be tough in the playoffs? Is there a specific ball club that stands out?
Well, we just got done playing Seattle, and that's probably the most complete pitching staff I think that we've seen. That was, what they have up there in terms of arms is really special. They struggle a little bit on the offensive side, but that's definitely not a team that'd be fun to face in the playoffs. I know that. That's some serious pitching they got.
Let me ask you this. So you're sitting on 35 home runs. Your career best is 36. I've asked this to a bunch of guys. Do you have set goals that you have in mind you write down before the season, and was getting over 36 one of them home run wise?
After last year and the injury that I had, for me, it was kind of just having a productive year, a productive year up to my standards. That was really just kind of my goal. Hitting 30 home runs, that was huge for me. The biggest one for me was getting 100 RBIs. It's the first time I've ever done that in my career. I've gotten to upper 90s several times, but I've never gotten to 100. So, for me, that was a pretty cool one.
Max, have you thought about the Dodgers having some type of like career resurrection club? Because, we've talked about your story and Justin Turner's story, Chris Taylor. Jason Hayward's got to join the list now, right? He was great when he started his career. He had ups and downs. I mean, he's a well above average offensive performer this year, looking at his numbers. I mean, he's 280. His OPS plus is 129. This dude's having an awesome year for you guys.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. And, you can look at all the numbers you want. The one thing that's not going to show up, though, is what he brings in the clubhouse. And, for anyone that's played with Shohei, they know that that's the best clubhouse guy you can be around. He's such a glue in there, and he's such a great guy. He's such a great teammate. Everyone loves being around him, loves hanging out with him, and he really kind of cements the clubhouse. And you add that on top of what he's been doing on offense and especially on defense. I think he's been one of the best right fielders in all of baseball, which is kind of crazy considering we have Mookie Betts, who's supposed to be playing right field for us, but he's playing second base. That shows what kind of impact that Jason's had alone right there, is that, Mookie's been getting to play a lot more second just so we can have Jason out there at right field.
Have you seen anything or spoken to him about anything that he felt like really helped him click offensively consistently this year? I know he's tinkered with his swing a lot. He's one of those guys, some guys never change and some guys change all the time, but have you gotten to talk to him or see anything about him? Because you've also faced him over the years for a long time.
I think it's I've talked to him a little bit, but I think it's more just like a believing in yourself again type thing, and that's something that the Dodgers do so well. And we don't try to reinvent anything over here. We try to just get you back to your basics, get you back to your roots. And Jason was already a really great player, and he just got away from his swing a little bit. And so for our hitting guys, I think it was just getting him back to his roots. And that's definitely been what's happening for him. And he's been taking off. He's been having a great year, and everyone is so happy for him.
So Max, we talked yesterday about if we could go to any ballpark and watch any game for whatever reasons, what would you pick? So I picked Dodger Stadium for a couple reasons. I only mentioned one of them yesterday. One reason is because the water pressure of the showers were so legit. I want to know if they're still that good. They were the best in the league. But number two, the grass, the Dodger Stadium grass, is that the best in the league still? Please tell me yes.
Yeah, our playing surface is definitely top notch. This year it's been a little bit different because they redid the entire field over the offseason, and it was a really cold and wet winter, so it's been taking a long time for the field to kind of settle in. But yeah, our playing surface is definitely one of the best in baseball. And as for the water pressure, on the home side we have just okay water pressure, but there's definitely some folktale stories about the old visiting clubhouse. How it was basically just a fire hose.
That's exactly.
Wait, how is? But that's
exactly
like a home field disadvantage. Why is it like that?
It was the firmest water pressure you'll ever have.
Really?
Yeah.
But the water would come high though, the level. So you got to
like a little too much. You got to be careful.
Everyone always said you had to be the first one in there, otherwise you're knee deep in water.
Yeah, you're taking a bath in there. Yeah.
Deep in,
because the drain can't handle it.
It comes out so hard, but it's like it's not painful. It's certain spots in your body. It'll be painful if you know.
Yeah, of course.
So you got to wear your cup
for your back. It's like a good
wear
massage.
Your cup when you're getting
showered. Or go in there alone. So.
This is really why we do this show. I mean, this is where we find out the good stuff.
Yeah.
I'd never heard that before. Didn't even really think about it, but it's important, especially if you're apartment shopping too and you don't own.
Yeah, there's two places that most people talk about. It's the old clubhouse at Dodger Stadium and Old Miami, from what I've heard. I never got to play there, but I heard the
at
water
Joe
pressure
Robbie?
there was
Danny would know.
A joke.
I played there for a series too. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a joke there. It wasn't as good as Dodger Stadium, but I can tell you that's the only shower that I actually threw my spikes at. Like, because I never got mad, but I got so mad that day for whatever reason, and I chucked my spikes in the shower and left them there.
Wow.
Yeah.
They might still be there. Hey, let me get to Brusdar Graterol. Super cool moment for him. I don't know how much you got to observe from it, but that he was able to reconnect with his mom. And cool, we have some pictures here too for the crowd that's actually getting to watch and not just listen on the pod. But what did you get to see? And just for humanizing the sport, how much people can get from a player who's separated from family for 7 years. He hadn't been able to reunite with his mother until she hit a game last night.
Yeah, it was a very emotional moment for everyone on the team. Brusdar is, for anyone that knows him, that moment last night was extremely special. I can't even imagine, what it's like for your mom to not be able to have ever seen you pitch in a professional baseball game, and she gets to come over and gets to watch you pitch at Dodger Stadium. It's a really cool moment, and I know the Dodgers helped out a lot with that, and it was special. Everyone was so excited for him, and he handled it pretty well considering, but I don't know that I would have been able to compete in that moment. I'd have lost it a little bit.
Let me ask you this: that is such a special moment. I'm a big family guy like you as well. I'm change gears here just for a second. I'm curious. You a lot of people that come to these games at Dodger Stadium, a lot of celebrities. Is there like a celebrity who are you like in awe to meet one time or to see at the stadium where you're like, man, this is pretty real. This is surreal right now that this man or woman is at the stadium right now?
It happens so much. You do get a little numb to it. For me, it was always Tommy when Tommy was still alive. It was you talk about probably one of the absolute baseball legends. To always see Tommy is that one was always kind of awe-inspiring for me. But it is crazy because all the celebrities are such big Dodger fans. They all know your story, and it's they'll come to the clubhouse every now and then, and Bryan Cranston was at the game the other night. The guy from Breaking Bad, and he comes up. He said, "Hey, how's your kids doing? You got two of them now." And you're kind of like, "Oh man, this guy knows about me. That's cool." And so it's those little moments to me are always the ones that are the coolest.
And my next question to you is, I was curious because we always heard, baseball, there's always these rumors and things you hear. Did Magic Johnson sign jerseys for you guys in spring training and leave them at your locker when the season started? Does he do that every year, or was it just 1 year thing?
No, he does it. He does it pretty much every year. When you come into the clubhouse, you have a nice goodie bag waiting for you. And this year we got a basketball and 4 jerseys. And he switches up the jerseys every year. I have a Dream Team jersey. I have a Michigan State jersey. I have all the Laker jerseys. It's pretty cool. I got them hanging up. It's that's a pretty cool moment. He does that for the guys on the team every year usually.
Now let me ask you this: like, if you get called up too, does that guy get them too, or is it just beginning of the year thing?
It's whenever he hands them out. If it's at the beginning of the year, you better hope you're on the team. If it's halfway through the year,
how cool is that, dude?
Yeah, so it's just it's whenever he decides to hand them out that if you have a locker, you get one.
That's awesome.
Can we be like your honorary assistants that day? Like whenever it happens, just I mean, I can't imagine that. That's got to be so cool, dude.
Yeah, it's a really cool moment. That's being in LA, we get a lot of cool perks like that. Nike always sends us a pair of Kobe's at some point. That one's pretty special. The guys always love that. They went pretty cool this year. They had the neon green ones. A lot of us have been wearing those, for batting practice and stuff. So
that's cool.
Magic gives up the jerseys. There's always celebrities walking in and out of the clubhouse, and we even had Denzel Washington at one point. Even though he's a huge Yankee fan, he was in the clubhouse just because it's LA, and so it's it's always a cool experience. You get to meet all these celebrities and stuff, and especially with Mookie. Mookie's always got guys coming into the clubhouse too. We've had Nelly in there. Lil Wayne's been through. Just all these guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, the name dropping that the Dodgers can do is like top notch.
Yes, sir.
It is. Max, question for you. I don't know if you saw, there's been a few stories out of San Diego about, obviously that team, it's no secret. They spent a ton of money. There's a ton of talent. It became a little bit of a rivalry with you guys, and they fell apart. So, there's stories about not a good clubhouse culture, and Machado spoke for a while about, that kind of being overrated to an extent. Just wanted to get your take from a player perspective on what that means. Like what is clubhouse culture? Does it matter when, say, a superstar is out there early? Do guys really resonate with the player that's been in the league for a while, who's, working on something? Can you just give me a little more insight on what that means? Because we talk about it so much. Like, can you define it for a team, and if you've seen it stand out or not?
Yeah, I can't really speak on the Padres situation because I don't, I'm not there. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know what they're dealing with or what's going through. But I know for us, we have our routine, and guys have their routine that they do every single day. And Freddie and Mookie, they're out there taking early ground balls every single day. And you obviously have to be smart about it. You can't be overdoing it, but they have their routine, and that's what we try to stress is. Hey, you have your routine that you're going to do every single day, whether you're playing good, playing bad, feeling good, feeling bad. You go through your routine, and then once you're done, you're done. And that's something that we've always had over here, and it really kind of starts with Kirsch. Kirsch has his routine he does every 5 days, and every day is the same for him. He shows up, he gets his work in, and then once his work is done, there's probably no one that has more fun in the clubhouse, in the dugout than that guy does. But it's only after he gets all of his work done, and For us, having a good clubhouse is kind of what makes it easy for us to win is, hey, if we have this certain situation, we know that this guy's going to go out there regardless of who he is, and he's going to get the job done. He's going to do what he can to get the job done. It's baseball. It's hard. You're not always going to accomplish it, but you can see it in what they're trying to do, that they're trying to do that job. Whether it's, you're a late inning bullpen guy that's opening a game for us, or we need you to move a runner over, even though you're a big RBI guy. Just something as simple as that. There's no one in the clubhouse that questions it because we're all for each other, and that's something that we've always had.
Yeah, it's well said, man. Yeah, and I know the young guys appreciate that, and they talk about that a lot, on teams that you've been on, including this year's team. Max, great catching up, man. Congrats on the walk-off, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Thanks a lot, guys. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks.
Max Muncy of the LA Dodgers. And we'll come back. We'll go over some topics in the weeds that we haven't hit yet. We'll go over our picks a little bit later on, and much more on that Padres story. Ken Rosenthal is the one who was a part of it. He'll join us in hour number 2.
Besides playing the games, what was the most fun you had in Japan?
And anything goes.
And I'll tell you. Can I tell you mine first?
Yeah, go for
We're
it.
just going to eat at the cafeteria.
Yes. Every
I'm telling
time.
you, we've seen, I call them specimens, athletes from different nations, and I'm telling you, from women to men, some of the unbelievable bodies you'll ever see in your life. I mean, how about going to the weight room?
Going to the weight room, just like, I mean, I felt like we kind of snuck in there because we were like these like normal looking guys and we have these just like freak athletes, and we were always just like, yeah, we just got like everyone's training for their life to be here, and we're like, oh, yeah, we just got a call a month ago that we're coming here to come play baseball. So yeah, like everyone was done at the end of the year, so that like their dedication and focus was just another level. But it was cool. Like, remember one day Boz and I were lifting, and like the head Korean strength coaches in there like correcting our form, and like we couldn't communicate really verbally with him, but it was awesome to just get to work with different people, see different people. One of my high school teammates from water polo was there, and he was playing with USA, and they did pretty well for themselves. And just seeing all the different athletes, it was pretty crazy.
Do you remember seeing some of the countries they were bench pressing, and then they did cleans? And the guy, he warmed up with 225 on each side, just 20 like this. Boom. Then he would put 2 more 45. Like, I'm telling you, they were benching 500 plus. And the coach is like, and like screaming at him in Russian or whatever it was. And he's like, I got this. And in his way, he's like, boom, 500 pounds, nothing, next. Oh my God. And the women were doing the same thing.
It was wild.
It was unbelievable, man. We're playing ping pong with the Koreans.
That was fun.
And they were unbelievable. I thought I was good.
Yeah, well, us Asians. I'm Asian, so I can say this, that we're good at ping pong.
Very good. But it's a different perspective of what we went through. And it's the memories that I'll never forget there. But the cafeteria, trading pins, and the specimens, I call them, in all the best ways possible, that walk by, and we're in there for like 2 hours, just like, bro, did you see that? Did you? I mean, it was unbelievable.
Luka walking around.
Oh my God, yeah.
Paul Gasol.
Luka Doncic just walking around.
The NBA guys,
yeah,
some of them.
I think the USA guys had their own hotel.
And now back to foul territory.
It's FT Live. We're in Cincinnati at the spanking new BetMGM Sportsbook across the street from Great American Ballpark. Scotty Braun, Todd Frazier, Danny Graves, and let's dive into the weeds for a sec, shall we? See if we can find the winner of the American League East between Baltimore and Tampa Bay. Obviously, Baltimore. What's surprising to me is you've got 2 series right now going on where you look and you're like, maybe this is a spot where Tampa Bay can pick up a game, right? They're going against an Angels team that's pretty beat up at this point in the season. Baltimore going up against Houston. They're fighting for a playoff spot still, for a division. They're a better team, obviously, competition-wise, than the Angels, who the Rays are playing. Nope. Orioles had the big comeback win in Game 1. Now in Game 2, they made it a little less stressful for the ball club. A couple homers from Hayes. It's been pretty amazing to watch this team consistently put dubs together and not really, fall apart or have bad runs at any point in the season for the most part. So got to give it to them. And also Ryan O'Hearn, who had the 5-for-5 game, then first at bat in Game 2 of this series, hits a home run. They've got dudes stepping up that are not household names in the sport yet. No, and it seems like 2 things. Anybody they bring up goes out and plays and does their best, and you're like, man, another one. And another one. This is unbelievable. Give kudos to their farm system. And then, you feel like anytime you go play at Houston, it's like, here goes Houston again. But right now, they're not doing it against the Orioles. They're still battling to get in. And, is it the same Houston of old? I still think they're a really good team. I still think they're getting the playoffs and they're going to do some damage. But, you always used to think you go to Houston, it's like, shoot, I'm hoping to get 1 game out of Houston right now. But now, seeing what the Orioles are doing, I tip my cap to the squad, man. This is going to be a fun playoff atmosphere in Baltimore, and these boys are coming to play. Young, middle, or old, they're all ready to rock.
And the special thing too, and I feel like I've said this before, they're so young, they don't know how good they are. Like, they just go out and play the game. I know that sounds very basic, but the game doesn't speed up on them because they're out there having a good time as young kids. And like you said, Todd, everybody they bring up, there's no failure there. No. They just immediately jump in like they belong there. And that's tough to have in an organization. And they're doing this in probably the toughest division in all of baseball. So kudos to them. And speaking on the Astros, you can't ever count Dusty out.
Never, no.
I mean, it's maybe a bad stretch right now, but Dusty will figure it out.
No, and if you listen to Fair Territory this week with Ken Rosenthal, he got a question towards the end in Grill and Ken asking, what's wrong with the Astros? What do they have to fix in the clubhouse? He's like,
Oh,
hold up. He's like, look at this team.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Look at what they've done, and also they're in the playoff mix right now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're leading the division still, despite all of that. I mean, 84-68. It's not a bad ball club. So, but it's a good race right now because you're still in that position where Tampa Bay is obviously good. I don't see them catching up at this point. You're really running low on time, and just really hasn't looked like Baltimore's going to lose, 4 or 5 in a row at any point. They haven't been swept in forever. So it's 2.5 games, which is really 3.5 because of the season series. So I don't see that. So Tampa Bay's got your first wild card, and then Toronto, Seattle, and Texas. 3 teams for 2 spots. Toronto's got the 1-game edge. And if you're watching right now, you're seeing the standings. If you're listening on the pod, Toronto's up a game on Seattle and Texas, who are both at 83-68. Actually, a big win for Texas yesterday to bounce back and snap a 4-game losing skid for them. But any updated thoughts here on which team out of those 3 is not going to make it? All right, what did we get? Heads or tails? We need 3 sides to that coin.
I think I want Texas to get in. That's just me being biased.
Why?
Because I played for them, I guess. I don't know. I root for the teams I play for, except a few we won't get into. But for me, Texas. Oh man, I don't know.
It's tough.
I don't know.
I'm
tough.
schedule watching at this point.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Houston gets in. I think Texas gets in is the last one in there too as well. Seattle. I
do want to see Julio in the playoffs.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
That would be pretty sweet.
Well, Rangers and Mariners are playing each other. I mean, you look at them, each team with 3 series left. Rangers and Mariners have 2 series still to go.
So one of them's out. I'm calling it right
You
now.
think so?
One of them's out. Unless there's a monster problem coming.
But the Jays have 2 series against the Rays and a series against the Yanks, who would love to play spoiler. That's why it's too close to call. We don't have time right now. So let's swing back. We'll go over our picks. We'll get Ken's perspective on what's going on with Baltimore specifically. He wrote about them this week. We'll do that at the top of the next hour. But our picks, we're at the sports book. Let's win some money. That's coming up. The other end of the rookies, you have Joey Votto. You had a little chit chat with him. Not a rookie. He's 40. You had a chit chat with him. Yeah. What do you think? Is this his last homestand as a Red? You got a little emotional on us yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, he did. But it's. I mean, these 2 guys can tell you. With Joey, you never know. Joey is his own man.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell me anything about Joey, and I'll believe it. Tell me, no, seriously. Like you could tell me
something up.
you could tell me that he cured cancer, and yeah, sure. Or you could tell me that he went on a cross-Canadian clown killing spree. That's possible too. I don't think he would actually do that.
Yeah.
Not anything, but for most things, that's a little bit of hyperbole. That means exaggeration, Todd.
He's going to start this up. I'm going to pass him here in a second because he knows I'll get his ass pretty soon.
I know.
We've been at it before. So strike one. I'll give him that. Strike one. So is he coming back or what?
I don't know.
If you had to decide right now, what's your answer?
I think so.
Okay.
I think he still wants to play. He still thinks he can play. And I think there is a place, even if he's not the Joey Votto of old. 2010 Joey Votto, the 2017, 2000, name the year. Even if he's not that guy, he brings a lot to this team. I think he could probably, anytime you start to doubt Joey, he turns it on. And he is someone who can figure it out. And even if he does like what Pujols did last year. You remember last year, Pujols goes in, and at the second half of the season is just like, oh, I'm going to crush lefties.
Yeah.
Joey's just going to go, okay, I'm just going to crush righties. And you've seen him accept some of these roles. Like him getting taken out early, he's the first guy at the step.
Yeah.
You know,
That's cool.
and that's the other thing with this team. You know, Ellie De La Cruz is struggling. I've seen him getting taken out and put somebody else in, and then he's the first guy out of the dugout to celebrate. These are guys that, like, a lot of people say this, like they just want to win and they're doing what to win. I've seen it on the field every day.
That stands out because there's some teams that play individual ball, and this is not one of those teams.
Yeah.
So,
and now back to Foul Territory.
Let's run it. FT Live on Stadium. Let's put a rest to this poll question. Did you have thoughts? Who's winning next year's AL MVP? The way too early question to ask.
No, I'm going other, and I'm going to give you a name.
Oh, okay.
The Judge is in the building. Okay,
Ooh,
I'm going Aaron Judge. He's going to be, hopefully he'll be 100% healthy. Watch out. He's going to have a tremendous year next year, in my opinion. Looking forward to next year already.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going other too, because I don't know if Ohtani is going to be in the American League or not. So other is going to be Julio Rodriguez.
Ooh,
this dude,
nice.
I mean, he started off slow and everybody thought sophomore slump,
Yep.
but look at him. Like he's ridiculous. I would love to see that happen.
So in the poll, Seager and Tucker were tied for first, and then other came in second place, Ohtani and Bellinger in third. And obviously some people are like, Bellinger in the NL. Yeah, he's a free agent after this season, so he could end up in the AL. And for Ohtani, yeah, there's a decent chance he ends up in the NL, and also he's definitely not pitching next year. So it's a good question. We'll probably run it back again. For me, I went Seager just because he's been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Same thing for him. If he has a full healthy season and there's no Ohtani pitching, ups his chances of winning an MVP in the American League too. So let's get to our locks for BetMGM. First backtrack into Tuesday. You know, the book opens up. It's in Cincinnati. We had to tilt it that way. I tried, as you could see, to kind of give myself a little cushion with the plus 2.5, but it was lopsided yesterday.
I just keep looking at Danny's picture, man.
Well, you know what? The result was the same. We took L's after sweeping the day before. So let's get back on track.
Yeah.
There's your updated money bags and your BetMGM locks for Wednesday. Got to pick a night game. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going again. I think it's at 3:40 p.m. I'm just riding the wave here. Diamondbacks are hot. I'm going to go money line minus 105. So I'm doing 210 to win 200. Merrill Kelly versus Logan Webb. It's going to be a really good pitching matchup. So it could be a close game, could be an under as well. I'm not going that way, but I'm sticking with Diamondbacks staying hot at home.
Yeah, they've played well. I mean, even yesterday, Gallen didn't pitch well, and they still were super aggressive on the bases. It seems like they got more energy than San Francisco.
Second win.
I feel like they really let the Giants down when they didn't add anything at the deadline. That was one of those teams where you were like, nothing?
And they're falling off right now. So.
Yeah. They hung around for a little bit.
So
I had to look this up because we're inside BetMGM and I've got so many different things going on. So I had to make sure I got the right one for this show.
Okay.
And that is the Guardians run line spread, minus 1.5 against the Royals. Giolito's on the mound, and history has that he's dominated the Royals. We know this Royals team isn't as good as many other teams. Bobby Witt Jr. is on fire, but other than that, this team offensively has struggled. So I got the Guardians. It's plus 105. So I'm going to go $100 on this one.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hundo to win 105. And I'll pick on that late Dodgers game because we're flying out after this. So by the time I get home, hopefully I can catch at least some of that game. I got the Dodgers money line. I'm trying to avoid the run lines. I was tempted, but then I went with Bobby Miller, 6 Ks or more. You're facing a team that has struggled against right-handed pitching, especially over the last month. They're one of the worst in that department in terms of what they're producing. And also it's a bottom of the league team in strikeouts, the Tigers, or top, if you're looking at it. They're a top 10 offense in terms of strikeouts. They swing and miss a lot. Good luck against Bobby Miller. Reese Olson's been pretty solid, especially this month for them. So I could see it being a close game coming out of bullpens. So I think Dodgers are going to win. That's at minus 115. You pair that with the Miller strikeouts. All right, the bonus code is FOUL to get involved here when you download the BetMGM Sportsbook app for the first time on iOS or Android and visit BetMGM.com if you don't want to go the app way for a $1,500 first bet offer. You sign up and deposit at least $10 into your BetMGM Sportsbook account. Place that first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. And if that bet does fall, your bonus bets will be available once your wager is settled. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And then also, I'd like to let everyone know that tomorrow, so in about 30 hours from now, Kratz and me are getting involved in a little poker action. Okay? I know you're tempted.
I am.
We're playing online. There it is. From the 14th to the 24th, $750K in guaranteed dough. The BetMGM Poker Trophy Event Tournament, and we're playing in one on Thursday night. So if you're in there and you're like, who's this guy? Who's this screen name or whatever? It could be me or it could be Kratz. So look out for it. Those trophy events are running from Thursday to Sunday. I might get involved in Sunday as well. Sunday's that main event championship. Thursday starts at 8 Eastern. Sunday is at 6. If anyone can get involved, some people have asked, they're like, oh, do I have to win a big poker event or something? I'm like, nope. You can get involved at BetMGM Poker. Go get the app, or you can go online in Jersey, Pennsylvania, or Michigan. And there's a welcome offer for new customers, a $1,000 deposit match and $75 in tournament tickets. If you want more information, go to BetMGM's poker page. I'll post a little bit more about it on Twitter, and so will Kratz coming up. All right, hour number 2, we've got Ken Rosenthal joining us and Freddy Peralta too, which will be cool because Freddy got to be a part of history, and it's not like it was his fault. And they lost 1-0 to Waino the other day.
Give up a solo and take the L.
Not much else you can do.
No.
That's a hang with him right there.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do.
And Freddie had good comments after the game too about what Adam Wainwright, has meant even to him to see the longevity and for him to carry that out. I mean, Freddie's still pretty damn young.
Yeah.
To be able to get to that point. I mean, that's what most guys want to figure out. And half of it's also just taking care of your body. I mean,
right.
You did something with your arm that it's not built for.
Yeah. These guys these days know how to take care of their bodies a lot better than we did. And you can see how they could just continue to go out there and throw inning after inning, just taking care of themselves.
I remember when I was coming up, if you didn't like the spread the one day, it was either Wendy's trip or a little Taco Bell down the road. You don't do that anymore. You get a backhand or something for doing that. You got to be careful.
The clubhouse looks good. I mean, we were inside, these clubhouses.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. The drinks, everything's specified for every person. That's how it should have been when you were playing. So, but yeah, there's a lot of different analytical things, a lot of different online things that you can go through. A lot of people are understanding more about what your body can handle and what it can't. And for that sole reason, that's why you get these guys, these nutritionists to come in and help each guy out. Hey, what do you like? What do you don't like? All right, we'll take the onions. Like, this is literally what they do. You don't like red peppers? All right, we'll take red peppers. We'll put, some other green in there or
this
a different kind of rice.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. And they're sitting there like, man, this is great. So it's like, they're making sure they're eating right, but at the same time eating what they like to eat, not just because it's good for you.
You know what our nutritionist was? Every drink that you have, drink some water with it.
True.
That's it.
Whatever it was.
You'll be good.
Wow.
You'll be good.
Wow. That's riveting information. We've come a long way. Coming up in hour 2 on the Foul Territory YouTube channel. Ken Rosenthal right at the beginning.
So I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Let's go. Hour 2 of FT Live on the Foul Territory YouTube channel, and the star of Fair Territory joining us right now at the top. It's Scotty Braun, Todd Frazier, and Danny Graves in Cincinnati. It's Ken Rosenthal in his secret location at home, joining us for a lot to get to. So, Ken, how are you? And I want to dive right into the San Diego Padres story that was released by yourself and Dennis Lin on The Athletic about 24 hours ago. Can you take us through, and I know it was a long article, I guess the most important part, I mean, there was a lot of great information in there. The most important part that stood out to you that was surprising about how this team is operating and why it's led to some disappointment?
I don't know that any of it was surprising, Scott. We've heard about these things that we reported for quite some time, and it was just a matter of confirming them, getting them to print, and just kind of putting a story together. The gist of the article, for those who might have not read it, is that the Padres' problems were not just on the field this season, they are off the field as well. And it's not necessarily what people think. People think, oh, these 4 superstars they have, those guys don't get along. That's not what we heard. What we heard was more of an organization-wide problem with the president of baseball operations, A.J. Preller's management style. He can be a micromanager, in the opinion of some. He is a hard worker. There's no question about that. He is a brilliant evaluator. There's no question about that either. But it's the handling of people, the way he goes about running the organization. That is what has come into question, and that really is the gist of what Dennis and I wrote.
Let me ask you this, Ken. When talking about Manny Machado, he's one guy that always comes up in these conversations, being a leader, sometimes being forced to do things that he doesn't want to do. For me and personally, I'm a big fan of Manny Machado's. I feel like sometimes he gets the wrong end of the stick at sometimes. But for me, do you see him being a problem, or it's just somebody looking for a leader there in the clubhouse to, fix some things going on with this whole season?
Todd, first of all, you can't ask a player to be something he's not. And Manny Machado, I don't even know that he would disagree, is not a classic leader. He's not a rah-rah guy. He's not consistently there every day, consistent in his behavior, consistent in his actions. He can be like that. Certainly at times he is like that. But the leadership he provides is more of the example variety. And I'm not talking about running the bases so much as I'm talking about just posting. And you guys know the value of that, just playing the game, getting out there, even if you're physically compromised on a given day, and contributing to your team or doing your best to contribute to your team. Since 2015, Manny Machado is second in the majors in games played, second to only Paul Goldschmidt. That is a form of leadership. And if you're going to complain about Manny Machado as a leader, well, if you're the San Diego Padres and you have that complaint, you knew before you signed him to this extension who he was, his strengths and weaknesses. This is not a secret to them. He had been with the club 4 years before they gave him 11 more and $350 million. It kind of overlapped the two deals, but you get my drift. And that is why the talk of Manny not being a leader, okay, that's fine, but the Padres knew that. That's not the issue here. And really, someone in the article described it as more, it's 4 guys who all are great players, big names, big contracts. Soto doesn't have his big contract yet, but he will. And it's kind of figuring out which one of those should step to the front at a given time. But we didn't have this question last year with the Padres when they reached the NLCS. It becomes a question when you don't win. And really, the whole article, all of the issues we talked about, the rift between Preller and Bob Melvin, the manager, the issues of leadership, the performances offensively, they weren't problems last year. They reached the NLCS last year. But when you lose, it's a much different story. And some of these fissures have come to the surface now. Some of these cracks are showing that didn't necessarily show before.
So, Ken, what's next? And I've got 2 layers here. Number one, you can't run the same team back. Why? Because Blake Snell and Josh Hader are free agents after this year. You are missing a massive part of your pitching staff unless they re-sign both of them, which, chances are not likely. They're bringing everyone back. So that's one side of things from like the player construction point of view in the offseason. The other part is, when does someone take a fall? And it's hard not to look at an article like yours and the results on the field and say, A.J. Preller's been there for a decade. They've made the playoffs 2 times. One was the COVID season. Last year was definitely strong, but it's not like he's Brian Cashman and they won titles years back. They spent a lot of money. We're seeing an article like yours about some interesting communication tactics that probably are not the best when you have a lot of people behind the scenes saying that they don't like the way that Preller is necessarily communicating with everyone else. This seems obvious to me. I'm wondering, is ownership held back because of a loyalty thing, because they don't want to blow it up front office wise and feel like there'll be too much, lack of continuity starting next year? Help us figure this out.
To this point, Scott, there is no hint that A.J. Preller is in trouble. The owner, Peter Seidler, really is fond of A.J. Preller, almost like a son to some degree. And I think that's a little bit strong, of course, because it's not his son. But he is quite fond of A.J. Preller. He thinks the world of him, sees for sure his strong qualities. At the same time, all the things you mentioned about his record are correct. And he's also spent a ton of money, draft, internationally, payroll, to get the results that you just mentioned. One winning season in a full season in his entire 9-year tenure. If Bob Melvin leaves or is fired, then that's 6 managers in 10 years. That's an unheard of number for a general manager who stays in place. So I don't know where this is going, but certainly questions can be asked about why this is continuing. We'll have to see how it all plays out. Now, as for the roster itself, Scott, you make a good point. Snell and Hader are free agents. You also have some other pitchers. Waka, Lugo, Nick Martinez have options or club options, player options, all these things that need to be resolved. Some of them could end up in free agency too. So they're going to need to rebuild their pitching staff. And they know, or at least they believe, that their payroll is not going to be at this level that it was this year forever. They understand that at some point they have to take a step back. Now, it's not going to be all the way back to where the Padres used to be. They're in a much different place from a revenue standpoint. They're drawing perhaps $3.3 million this year, second or third in the league in attendance. That is an amazing accomplishment. But to sustain that attendance, you have to win. So it's kind of a balance that they're going to have to strike here. And it's going to be really interesting to see how they play this offseason, because there are some glaring holes that are going to arise. And yes, they have payroll flexibility still within where they are. They're over $100 million committed for next year, plus Soto, but they can do some things. Of course, there'll be competition for all these pitchers as well.
Ken, so great to see you. Just so you know, I don't like to read much, but when you put something out there, you know I have to. I love what you do. So here, I got a question for you. The hire that Preller brought in, Don Tricker, you wrote he's the director of player health and performance. There was a part that says that some of the players or personnel think that he was kind of a spy for the front office. Can you speak briefly on that? Like, how true is that? And does most of the team feel that way?
Danny, we don't write things unless they're true. It's good to see you as well. If we don't have enough sourcing to support that, we wouldn't have written it. Now, is it the whole team? I don't know if it's the whole team. You guys know this. Some players care about this stuff. Some players are tuned out. They're into themselves. They don't really care about what's going on around them. So I can't say it's the whole team. I don't have that definitively said or anything like that. But he is someone who was brought in. He was with the All Blacks in New Zealand, the rugby team, very successful. He's got some interesting background, and he's been around for several years now. But the role that he has makes some people uncomfortable, and that's what really the point of that section was about. That here's a guy that makes people kind of uneasy, and they feel like, whoa, what's he doing here? And when you're running a baseball team, I don't know that it's healthy to have that kind of feeling. Now, there are people who believe, managers who believe, not managers of baseball team, but managers of businesses, that stirring up a little unrest is good. Keeping people uncomfortable is good. The Padres definitely seem to do that under Preller. I don't know that everyone thinks it's good.
All right, let me switch gears. Shohei Ohtani, the whole big saga going on with him. He's got the arm. He just had the surgery done to repair what was most likely Tommy John. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but when I hear anything Tommy John or hear anything repair-wise, it doesn't sound too good to me. So he's not going to pitch next year, which we know. But you did repost something about, how he's not going to get his nice farewell from the Angels. And I agree. It's like, it just seems like off with the win, see you later. And, we'll never remember him playing for the Angels kind of deal, which we will. But, what are your thoughts on that as well?
First off, Todd, it's curious that they didn't announce what kind of surgery it is. You don't need to hide the ball here. You're going to have to tell all the teams what kind of surgery he had when he's a free agent. You can tell the world it's okay, but Ohtani, his agent, Nez Balelo, whoever, likes to operate in a shroud of secrecy. I don't know where the order is coming from there, but it's a little silly just to start off with. Is it Tommy John? Is it Tommy John plus an internal brace, which is a surgery that a lot of pitchers have had now? Is it solely the internal brace, which would allow him to get back quicker? We don't know. We do know his goal is to return as a hitter by opening day, and that is significant because when he goes into the free agent market, teams are going to want him as soon as possible. Now, in my mind, whether he's ready as a hitter opening day or May 1st, it shouldn't make that much of a difference. No one should rush this. He should not rush this. The team that signs him should not rush it. Most likely, the team that signs him is going to be entering into a long-term arrangement with Ohtani. So if it takes another month, it takes another month. But I can understand from a marketing standpoint why they are saying publicly, and I'm sure they will tell the teams privately, that the plan is to be ready as a hitter by opening day. And if that's the case, great. And if it's not the case, I don't think it's that big a deal.
Do you think, are you, like Todd said, do you wish that there was a better send-off here? Do you feel like the communication has been strange? Not just that he obviously on his camp is usually a little bit mysterious and not always very transparent. He doesn't talk to the media a lot, but even just the relationship with him and the team. Some Angels fans have been all over my case on social media. Stop hating on the Angels. Whatever. I'm like, I've been around the game long enough. The way that this process has gone down seems strange. Like the communication's coming from him and then to them, and they just kind of floated out there.
That's true. And that's the way they've set it up from the beginning. They have empowered him in ways that few players are empowered. And of course, to some degree, they had to do that because he was doing something revolutionary. He was becoming a two-way player, and he knew his body best. And of course, to some degree, he was going to dictate how he was used, working in concert with them, but at the same time having a very strong voice. That was understandable. The media stuff, I'm not as understanding about. It's, to me, a little much, but at the same time, I will grant this, that as a two-way player, you have unique preparation responsibilities that go beyond anything we've ever seen. So availability before games, that would be tough. I can understand at many cases, but he could speak more than he does, put it that way. So going forward, I would imagine his next team empowers him the same way. But his relationship with the Angels, Scott, I have never once gotten the impression that it's bad. His agent says it's not bad. The Angels say it's not bad. And this whole weird ending when he cleaned out his locker and all of that, I don't know that we should read too much into that or not. And as far as a send-off, there is no reason why at the last home game, Ohtani cannot come out there in his sling or whatever, get introduced, wave to the crowd, and have his send-off that way. I would think that the Angels would want that. I would think even he would want that. Now, maybe the Angels don't want to concede that he's leaving, but at the same time, it's the right thing to do.
I hope they do that and understand the situation. Okay, let's go to Florida. The Rays seem like they're going to have a new ballpark. I always say seem nowadays because, we've been back and forth with Oakland and Vegas and still somewhat to be continued. But can you convince me, and, we don't have Pierzynski on today, that this is the right decision as far as location and what you've heard? I spoke to some Rays people over the last 48 hours, team employees that were not thrilled based on the location because that's been the big chatter about raising attendance. So I know that, they're getting what they want from St. Petersburg to an extent. They're going to try and build up a little area, and that's the dream of all of the owners at the same time. But attendance isn't good. To me, that brings an entire league down, and that's been a problem for the Rays even now when they're freaking good. So what are your thoughts on the ballpark construction that's going to go down and open them up in 2028?
Scott, it seems to me their preference has always been Tampa if they could get to Tampa. And for whatever reasons, and I'm not that up to date on the political processes that have gone on in both cities, but they feel that the more realistic deal is in St. Petersburg. And I will say this about St. Petersburg, and I was not aware of it. I was there a few weeks ago for a Fox game, and I talked on the field with Stuart Sternberg, their owner, and he explained to me that St. Petersburg as a city is much different than it was 10, 20, 30 years ago. It's kind of booming in its own way. So while it's not Tampa, and while the population up in Tampa is still going to have a difficult time getting down there, you're building a 30,000 seat stadium, development around it. If you have a good enough team, I would think with the area seemingly growing, you should be able to draw. Now, if you can't draw under these circumstances with all that they have planned, and what they want to do, of course, is a 30,000 seat retractable roof stadium with a battery type condominium development complex right next door, just like Atlanta, which has the Battery. Whether it happens, it seems like it will now. This is the furthest they've been along. It's not totally done yet, but it seems that the politicians are relatively on board and will approve what has to be approved here. So is it the ideal scenario? Maybe not, because still the Tampa Bay area has the larger population. It's more accessible to a greater number of people. But the Rays certainly believe that this can work. And I don't know that they would be putting this much effort into it if they didn't feel it could work, right? They would just maybe say, we'll take Nashville, or we'll take Portland, or we'll take Vegas, whatever the case might be. Instead, they see their future as being tied up into this ballpark development complex. And that seems to be the way of the future. Much like Camden Yards ushered in this age of new age ballparks, Truist Park with the Battery adjoining, that's something every team wants now. St. Louis has it to a degree as well. That's where Tampa Bay is as a franchise. It's a better place than they were yesterday or 2 days ago before this was announced. Whether it's the right place, Scott, yes, that remains to be seen.
The Baltimore Orioles are really good. We know that. And we didn't know that at the beginning of the year, but seeing how these young guys keep coming up, one guy after another come in, we're like, another, boom, dominates. They've been doing well. Do you see their pitching rotation keeping up in these playoffs? What would you say your answer to that one be? Just pitching-wise alone. We know they can hit. They've been doing well against Houston. Is the starting rotation going to step up?
Todd, I believe they will step up. The question really is, are they good enough? Bradish, one of the top ERAs in the league. Grayson Rodriguez is one of the top pitching prospects, if not the best pitching prospect in the game. They've also got Dean Kramer. They can use Gibson and Flaherty and do some other things as well if they need to in a fourth game of a 5-game series. But it is a concern for sure that against a team like, for instance, Toronto, Seattle, even Tampa Bay, they don't match up as evenly as they would probably like to in terms of starting pitching. They do a lot of other things right, and I know they've got Felix Bautista down, probably not coming back, but their bullpen has still been really good, though not so much maybe of late. They're a very good, resilient, competitive team. And the thing that strikes me most about them is, as young as they are, they have this knack for coming back in games. They are quite able to do that, and they do it frequently. But starting pitching is a little bit more important in the playoffs than it might be over the course of 162. And yes, this is the question with them. Now, Bradish and Rodriguez can dominate. There's no question about that. And if that happens, they patch it together with the other 2 games in a series, they'll be okay. But yes, I'm worried about that for them as much as I am any particular aspect of any playoff team.
So, Ken, you kind of answered that question. I was going to ask you a question about Bautista and Cano, about how if you're shocked that the bullpen was so good still after Bautista. But I'll go another direction. Which team do you think, the Orioles or the Rays, need this first-round bye more?
I would say the Orioles. They fought hard. They have used their players. While they have incredible depth on the position side, they could use some rest for their pitchers. There's no question about that. I would imagine the Rays would say the same thing. The Rays, my goodness, they've had attrition like no other team really with their starting pitching. They still have Glass now, of course. They still have Eflin. They still should be okay in a postseason series. Aaron Savali has stepped in nicely as well. But all teams want that, Danny. You know this. They want those few days to rest their pitchers. And yes, you might sacrifice some momentum. We all understand that. But it's not that long a rest period now, with the wild card series being 3 games in 3 days. So I still would say the Orioles, just to get their bullpen back rested and get their starting pitching in order.
Hey, Ken, I mentioned this yesterday, but does a manager like Brandon Hyde actually get pissed when he looks at PECOTA projections? Now, I can understand most people in general making any type of prediction, not putting the Orioles as the division winner, but PECOTA is like so safe with what they put out there. I feel like when I look at it, like everyone's winning 80 games.
PECOTA, I believe, Scott, had the Orioles at 74 and Fangraphs at 78. It was something like that. Don't quote me, but it was close to that.
Okay.
And does a manager truly get upset about that? I don't know. If I was a manager, and I tell this to fans all the time when they get, how come you said the Orioles are only going to win 82 games? Who cares what I think? Who cares what Pacoda thinks? Who cares what Fangraphs thinks? When your team outperforms all of these projection systems and all these supposedly brilliant writers, hats off to them. And that's a great accomplishment. It's a great accomplishment anyway to win as many games as the Orioles have. So do I think Brandon Hyde was truly upset when he made those comments? No. I believe, though, what he was saying is that all these smart people who thought they had this figured out, they didn't see in my team what I saw in my team. And keep in mind, the projection systems go purely on numbers and objective data. There is more to this game than that. We see that. We know that. It plays out every year, no matter how much we try to analyze it and break it down. Teams come together. Teams fall apart. Injuries happen. Trades happen. All kinds of things happen. And in the Orioles' case, they have gelled in a way that I don't believe many expected. And they've also gotten more out of their young players who matured quicker than perhaps these projection systems and writers believed that they would.
Yeah, their development process has been ridiculous. It's a good call there. Ken, happy belated birthday from earlier this week. Yeah. We appreciate you. And
Thanks, guys.
We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, Scott. Thanks.
Thank you. And let's show a little Fair Territory promo too right there on your screen. Episodes every Monday, except next week. They've got the holiday, the Jewish holiday, so he'll be on Tuesday with the show on YouTube and on Apple and on Spotify. Oh, Ken's back Friday. So we'll be able to talk to him again about that. Today's only Wednesday. It feels later in the week. We've been having a good time out here in Cincinnati. You know who else is having fun in Cincinnati?
Wow.
Hunter Green is young, throws 100. He's rich, and he's got a fuckload of strikeouts. 14 Ks through 7 innings.
He should be coming out for the 8th, too. I think he's in the upper 80s pitching, maybe low 90s.
Yeah, we might have to go grab him when he's out and just bring him across the street to hang out.
Yeah, because he was supposed to come on with us yesterday, right?
That's true. Yes, we did talk to him a couple nights ago when we were leaving dinner to say a quick hello. He got big, too, like good big. You know, like he's built.
He's a monster.
He is a monster. But, man, he is bringing it for the Reds when they need him. And he's really the guy that you rely on at the top of the rotation right now. And Abbott's been really good too. But Hunter Green's the guy. I mean, that's the guy they spent money on, you know?
Yeah, he's going to be that dude for sure.
Yeah, Abbott, I think innings are starting to catch up a little bit, but
they should.
Yes,
you know?
yes. But you get Hunter Green going deep into the game like this and just go ahead and strike out 14. It's a huge boost for them.
So he signed in mid-April. 6 years, $53 million. There's a club option too on there. So it could end up beating about 2 years of his free agency. Otherwise, he would have been a free agent entering his age 28 season. So it's a little behind, but close to, because it's the second largest contract ever for a pitcher with a year plus of service time. Strider last year signed. It was in the playoffs, actually, the extension.
Yeah.
6 years, $75 million. So especially on the pitcher side, when you don't know how the arm's going to go.
Yeah. I like guaranteed.
You get your richness.
Anything that's guaranteed.
And he'll still hit free agency, I guess, let's see, at age 30 season.
Yeah.
And for a pitcher, if he's got the build, he's a dude that if he keeps himself on the mound, like he can have a nice long career. And even if he loses a few ticks on the fastball when he's in his 30s, still going to be pretty damn good.
He's also a guy that could go to the bullpen later in his career and bring the noise.
In a playoff, too. All of a sudden. We need him to throw 105. We'll put him in the 8th.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so I guess that's the first time since 2000 the Reds done that. 14 Ks, 7 innings. Do we know who it is?
I do, because I just read it. But
then
I was there too. I would have guessed that. Ron Vallone.
Oh, wow.
Vallone.
Yeah, Ron Vallone.
Wow.
Yeah, he started 99 and 2000 for us, but mostly a guy out of the bullpen after that. Big lefty. Nicest guy.
Up that many Ks?
Oof.
Dude, there was days that he was just unhittable.
Yeah.
I mean, like he would throw stuff up there and you're like, how are these guys missing it? But then, there would be days that he wasn't nearly as good. But if he was on, watch out.
Mm-hmm. Well, props to him. All right, let's shout out our friends at Shady Rays who've got you covered with premium polarized shades. We're inside today, but you're not going to break the bank. And it's an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product just as good as any expensive pair that you've ever worn. Durable frames, extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures, and also the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses backed by lost and broken replacements. So if you lose or break a pair, even on day one, they've got you covered with a brand new pair, no questions asked, so you can wear them with confidence. And also, if you don't love what you've got, no big deal. There's a ton of options. You can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days of purchase. And for the FT fam, we've got the discount FOUL, FOUL at shadyrays.com for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized shades. Try for yourself the sunglasses rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. It is hot. Sun is beaming today.
Yeah.
Each day got a little hotter on the walk over here.
I'm glad we're inside.
I think it's let's see. What do you think it is right now? Outside. So we're right across the street, obviously, if you're new to the party here. Right across the street from Great American Ballpark. Right now it
84.
is 82.
Hot.
Should hit a high of 85 today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not too shabby for almost October.
Yeah.
In Cincinnati. Although some people would complain they'd like a little more.
At night, it's great at night, though.
It was perfect last night.
Yes.
It was perfect for a game. And we'll see if they host a playoff game. So on the National League wildcard picture, while we have a moment before Freddy Peralta joins us, same thing. Good luck figuring out who's going to come out of that. So Miami with a big walk-off win yesterday because Nimmo almost carried the Mets to a dub. Mets are not a fun team to play right now because there's still some talent on there. That's not a pushover team. And they certainly haven't given up. You know, like, I mean, AJ's talked about the White Sox. You look at them. They're definitely not playing inspiring baseball right now. The Mets are. So the Marlins get a dub. They also pick up Matt Moore. He's been a really effective left-handed pitcher out of the pen this year, mostly with the Angels. Then he was part of the big dump deadline. He ends up with the Guards. Now the Guards let him go. He can't pitch in the playoffs for the Marlins if they make it, but who cares? Their playoffs is right now, and he's joining that bullpen, which actually I was looking up. They have a ton of lefties in their bullpen. AJ Puck, Tanner Scott, Steven Okert, Andrew Nardi, and now you've got Matt Moore in there. And Moore can handle both sides, but this is a nice depth pickup for a team. I mean, you don't expect to get a guy like that with a week and a half to go in the season.
Well, I think really what it does is you give other guys a blow, right? So other guys, whether it's starters or relievers that need that little bit of a break, and you're still adding a quality arm, even though he doesn't get to pitch in the playoffs, well, you got to get there. So, yeah, this is their playoff now. I think it's a huge, huge addition.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes further because these games are very huge for all these teams.
Hell yeah.
So to have somebody come in that has a little experience, not going to wow you, not going to be that guy like, oh man, that's the guy. No, but he can manipulate the zone. He can figure out what he needs to do against each pitcher. And he's a lefty too as well. So lefties are, at the end of the day, they're tough to hit and they're tough to get by because you don't know the craftiness to all of them.
You know who the Marlins are playing in their next series? Milwaukee.
Oh,
let's bring on Freddy Peralta to go over it right now. Brewers starter joining us, Mr. Smiles. How you doing, Freddy?
Hello, guys. I'm doing good. How about you guys?
What's up? We're good, man. So you're playing the Marlins in the next series. You guys are in pretty good shape, right? You're on your way to a division title, but you also actually get to serve a role that some teams that are not in the playoffs get to do, right? So you get to play spoiler. If you guys take it to the Marlins, you could knock them out of playoff contention. Do you guys, realize the weight of the situation on the team that you're playing too?
Yes. So we are in a situation right now, like, it's a great race, especially that we got fired up a little bit here in St. Louis because, they play great against us. They always like trying to beat us. But today is the third game. See how it goes. But like you say about Miami, it's gonna be a great series, and we hope that we probably can celebrate over there. But we as a team we're not thinking about it. Just trying to win games and see when the real good teams coming.
I want to talk about you the other day, man. I didn't know you had that much skills in the bailando, man. You were dancing on the field with the, with the brew crew over there, man. Look at you getting after it, dude. You put a smile on my face watching. I didn't know you had the hips like that, big dog.
First, it's good to see you, brother.
Always.
But I'm Dominican, man. I'm from the Caribbean, Dominican Republic. So we kind of dance. We grew up like dancing everywhere. It was fun. Let me tell you this. I had no idea that I was going to do that. I just came out of the dugout and I was like, like supporting the people that customize or cleats for that day, for the Hispanic day, and there's a guy that came to me like, "Hey, we're gonna have a group of dancers, a group of ladies. They're gonna be dancing in the center field." And I was like, "Yeah, so what happened? What you mean? Like, we would like to see you like going there and see if you can dance a little bit with it." And I was like, "Really? Are you gonna put me in that situation now?" And I had no choice. I had to do it, and it was fun. That video, a lot of people from the yard started sharing it to me, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't want to be in that situation at the moment, but it is what it is.
He had to do it for the people. For the people, that's all.
Exactly.
So Freddie, as good as y'all starting rotation is and has been throughout the year, your bullpen is freaking nasty, man. As a starter, how good of a feeling is that knowing that if you don't go 6 or 7, they got your back?
Man, let me tell you, it gives you, especially for me, like, give us like a lot of confidence. You know that you have a group behind you that are gonna take care of you back. The only thing that you need to do is keep the game close and try to ease on innings, and they're gonna be there for you, like putting zeros. And they've been doing that for the whole year. They have done a great job, man. I'm proud about the bullpen that we have, and hopefully that they stay healthy.
So, Freddie, obviously you dream when you're younger of making it to the big leagues and having success, and then you get to put together an outing like you did the other day. You pitched really well. Obviously, the dude on the other side had a great game, and he's had his ups and downs this year. But how cool was it to be able to face Adam Wainwright when he had a major individual accomplishment that he was working on? The crowd felt much more lit up than it would normally at this time of year with the Cardinals not being in the playoffs. Did you get to kind of think about it while you were in the moment and go, wow, I'm facing Wainwright in one of his last starts going for win number 200?
Yeah, 100%, man. I knew the situation, and I knew how important is this series for us, and the series that are coming ahead too. But I knew about, especially that game, I knew that he been coming and working so hard to get that win. But I had to do what I had to do, and but everything was going like on his way that night, and for one part I feel bad because we lost the game and we are in a very important situation right now. But on the other side, I was happy about him. We've been pitching together for like facing the Cardinals and watching him pitching for 6 years already. And before that, I grew up and watching him pitching. He and Jari doing amazing career for him. I feel great. I feel happy about him. Yesterday, he came out of the dugout during the practice and he showed us like some love, some respect, and it was great to see him doing that and finishing his goals for the season that it was to get the 200 wins.
That's great. Yeah, to see those are things in baseball that Danny and I like. I can't speak for him, but I know he'd probably say yes. I love to see guys meet their goals, even if it's on the other team. You want to win as many games, but at the end of the day, you're not. And to be a part of things, like I was part of David Wright's last and final game, just to have an example, like some things that you'll never forget. And I'm sure you'll never forget that because you're going to try and get the 200 wins, of course. And I think you would definitely love that too as well. So for me, to change gears again, I saw you delivering food the other day on the back of a golf cart here, man. Hey, you guys were hitting people on the run. You were throwing it through windows as people were driving. I'll tell you what, I need to work with you in the horseshoes and the cornhole game. You guys were on fire here. Talk to us about
it. Hey, man, it was really fun. And of course, that there's little moments in the video there's little moments in that day that there are not in the video. So we have fun. it was awesome. I remember that I hit a lady on the face, like trying to give her like a shirt, and I threw it like, and she was happy. She was happy 100%, but we were laughing about it. But a lot of things happened that day. I was hungry because that was like right after the practice, and I didn't have the chance to go eat. And as soon as I saw like all the people like on the grill making like some great cooking some ribs and all that kind of stuff, and I like, wait, I gotta get something. It looks really good. And then I went to a little group of family they were like cooking, and I was like, "Can I get something?" And they was, "Yes, of course, you can take whatever you want." And I tried some ribs, and they taste great, man. It was awesome day. We have fun, uh, and that's the little things that I think that I enjoy to do during the season.
So were you taking a bite of the ribs and throwing the rest of that rack, or did you get a new rack for everybody?
Game used.
Because they're gonna put that on the internet. They're gonna put that and sell it, Freddie.
Oh my god! I was eating it on the whole road, and I got dirty because all the sauce and all that kind of stuff. And Willie got mad with me because that. But I was like, forget about it. We're just enjoying the moment.
do you ever, Freddie? Do you ever throw something at someone like a friend or something who's like, "Oh, you toss me that," and you realize that you threw it like way too hard because you're a pitcher and you throw 90 something?
Yes, it happens. Sometimes to my daughter, like I forgot. So for me, one of the sport that she probably gonna practice is gonna be soccer. So she loves that already, and she has like two soccer ball at the house. And sometimes I kick it, and I kick it too fast, or sometimes I throw it to her, and I hit it. Like I have hit it like two times in the face.
Oh no!
She doesn't cry. I don't know. That's weird. Like I don't know. She just started laughing about it, running everywhere, like enjoying it. And I'm like, "What are you doing, little girl?"
I love it.
Because everything you got's I can just imagine, like, oh, here's the soccer ball. Boom.
Yeah. It's probably got some movement on it too, because it's not gonna be straight. It's got some movement.
No,
Exactly.
you know how it is.
Hey, Freddie, you've got a pretty new teammate who's been in the bigs for a while. How's Josh Donaldson doing with the ball club? And have you gotten to talk to him at all or mess with him?
Yeah. He's been doing great. The first day that he got here, he shook my hands and he was like, "You fast for Freddy, but when you face me, you throw me a lot of sliders." And I was like, "Yeah, you always in the front looking for the hunting the fastball, so I'm gonna throw sliders." So he's good. He's been doing good, and I think that he's happy to be here, and that's all that matters for us.
I don't understand how it didn't catch on. We put it, I don't know if you saw on the bottom of the screen, we put full menu Freddie on the graphic. Yeah, but the thing is, you came up in the league and you were throwing a lot of heaters early on, and guys just loved the nickname. Are you correcting everyone nowadays, like Donaldson, when they say, "Hey, fastball Freddie"? Like, hold up, dude. Look at my pitch mix. I'm not fastball Freddie anymore.
I should do that. I probably gonna start to do that, but because I remember it was the start of the season. I think we were
spring training. We said full menu Freddie. Let's run it. And no, it hasn't picked up like I thought it would, but it should, because I think from a marketing perspective, people need to know if they're calling you fastball Freddie, they're not watching you. They're not watching your starts.
No.
Full menu.
Well, especially passing out food, you definitely got to go full
Exactly.
menu now.
That even helps. Full menu Freddie with the food.
I'm probably gonna start correcting people about it. Yeah.
Yes, you have to. You have to just do a declaration on your social media and say, "I'd like to announce that I am not fastball Freddie anymore. That persona has been retired."
Has been retired, and it's because you guys.
Yes.
Well, Michael Vassallo's got to be right there with you, right? Is Vassallo there with you? Tell him. He'll do it.
He's PR.
He's not here right now, but he's everywhere. So I'm gonna let him know, and let's see what he think about it. We don't like him to post a lot of things sometimes because we like to keep like all things like in secret a little bit, like a little sneaky. But I gotta let him know.
And even if you want to wait, like it could be done, after the playoff run and all of that. But at some point, I feel like people just have to kind of understand that this is a different pitcher nowadays. Yeah. If you think he's just fastball, Freddie, good luck. You're going to be like Donaldson, swinging and missing at sliders.
Love it.
You know?
Heck yeah. Hey, question for you about Craig Counsell, man. Have you talked to him? He's got 700th win, 700th, I should say. Sorry. Are you trying to pitch in for him for 2024? And he talks about that, getting him back?
Man, I think I don't know what's going on, but he's keeping all that in secret. I'm proud of him. 700 is a lot. He's a great manager. I think you all know that. Great person. And I wish to have him for my, for years coming. I don't know how long he's going to be here for, but he doesn't talk about it. So I think that it's something that he only know. I don't know, but he doesn't want to talk about that. I asked him during the whole season in Dominican Republic because he was there early in January, and he went to my house, and I was like, but he doesn't want to talk about it. I don't know why.
No comment, right? Yeah. No comment. Yeah, in the off season maybe then. So what makes him unique in terms of his in-game managing? I feel like the big thing with him when people around the league talk about his strengths is they say he's so good at pressing the right buttons during the game. And that includes when to take his pitcher out, when to put in a particular reliever, when to press a button on a pinch hitter. How does that go? Like, what have you observed from that? I mean, we spoke to Woodruff, your boy Big Woo, the other day about his back and forth with Counsell for his complete game shutout and how many pitches he had left. Yeah. It was really cool to get that insight. Do you have anything that you've observed about what's made him really good at in-game managing?
Yeah, I think first thing that he does like really good is he worry a lot about keeping everybody healthy. So he knows sometimes he make if we are not going to have like off day between two stars, what he does is he brings somebody from somewhere like to give us some rest. So he always like trying to keep us like fresh, feeling good, and you can see the different things that he does between like every stars. Like let's talk about last night. So you see, last night we had a reliever, McGill, starting the game only for one inning, but we knew that we had our guy Ray behind him. So he does that because something. So he all the time he probably did that last night because he don't want Ray to face the top of the lineup three times. He figured out he always like trying to do something different. But his more important thing for me is to keep everybody like fresh, keep everybody healthy. He made sure to ask everyone how you feel like if I am in this if I finish the season in let's say that and I have like 85 or 90 pitches, he come to me like, hey, you feel good? Do you think that you can give me another inning or you feel good now? So he's always like making sure consulting you like how you feel and he does what he thinks that he's better for keep us like healthy for the whole season.
Freddie, I got a two-part question. Do you miss hitting? And does anybody now like try to imitate Counsell in BP like this, trying to hit?
So I don't miss hitting.
He was good though.
I wasn't good hitting. I have a lot of stories. The guys always like talking about it. And the other day, like probably like 2-3 weeks ago, they were in the computer and they were like playing with me. They were like finding all the hard moments that I have, the strikeouts. And I was like, please don't do that. Don't show it to anybody. And they were like playing without, like showing everyone all the ugly swings that I had done, that I did to Aaron Nola one day in 2019. He threw me a sinker, and he broke my bat really bad and all that kind of stuff. So I don't miss hitting. It's good. I feel good like that. And what you say about Counsell, so about his staying heated, it was fun, and it's something that we always talk about it, but more in spring training during the meetings that we do in the clubhouse. So somebody always brings something about him.
Freddie, I'm gonna break some news for you that's already been out there, but you might have missed it because it was posted pretty late at night. Although this actually ties into the question because I'm not sure if you were awake to catch it. So Yusei Kikuchi, you know him on the Toronto Blue Jays?
Yes.
Good pitcher on the Blue Jays this year. Oh, good. We have the tweet. I'll read it for you. This is the writer who covers the Blue Jays for The Athletic. Said he thinks he'll be fine for his next start. He left last night with cramps. Now he pitched. He pitched 5 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. He had a good day. The biggest revelation was that he said it may have been caused by only getting 11 hours of sleep instead of his usual 13 or 14 hours. I need your sleep totals, what your average is, what your high is, what your low is. Other teams, like other teammates? Do you have other teammates that log anything close to 14 hours? Because the thing that I'm still having a hard time with is Kikuchi only is awake for 10 hours per day. It's a lot to do in 10 hours, and you're pretty much at the ballpark for 10 hours. So it's wake up, ballpark, home, sleep.
Gotta be.
No, I can't believe this. 13 hours, 14 hours. Oh my God. No, I think that the max that is probably 9, but normally is 7 to 8 hours. I cannot be in the bed for more than that. It's too much for me. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't. But that's real. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I had no idea. I'm gonna talk with the guys about it. Let's see what.
I want to. You got to do some investigative reporting. Like, are there any teammates that are known to sleep a ton? Where it's like, I called him or I texted him. He's sleeping. He always sleeps till like 12. He gets his 12 plus hours. Is there somebody?
I gotta talk to them about it. I gotta talk with my guys. Let's see what they think about it. I'm gonna ask. You know who's the right guy? I'm gonna ask Miley first and see what he thinks. He's the older one, so I'm gonna ask him.
I have one. You said sometimes Adames won't show up to lunch on time. Is it because he's sleeping?
Maybe he goes to the bed late.
He goes to bed late, yeah. He's got a ton of energy, though. I'm like, there's no way he's only awake for like 12 hours, you know?
Yeah, I don't think. We're very close, but I think that he go late to the bed, and that's why he wake up late.
Can you imagine if you only had 10 hours per day to do everything you needed to do?
It's not enough. It's not enough for me.
Freddie, did you say Wade Miley is the guy you're going to ask?
Yeah, I'm going to ask him.
I would pick him too. I would pick him if anybody, yeah. He looks like he just wants to sleep. Yeah.
I'm going to ask him and see what he's going to say about it. He probably will be mad with me because he always like, But why you ask?
We've had him on.
Why me?
I've heard of guys, double-digit hours, plenty in the league, but 14 was a new one for me. I had never heard of that.
That never met me either.
I want to talk to him about like what he's missing for a few hours a day at least. So, all right, you do some homework. Next time you come back on, we'll find out what the average is with the Brewers. You're probably going to shock a lot of dudes. That's a good combo today with the boys in the clubhouse when they come through. Like, hey, dude, you see this stuff about Kikuchi? You should tell him.
Yeah, for sure. I will do it 100%.
Perfect. Full menu. Good to talk to you, man. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks, all right?
All right, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, my friend.
Yeah.
See you soon.
But just think about that. Wakes up at 1. My kid's done with school 1:30.
Yeah.
So my wife would have to be getting everybody ready to go. And then 2 o'clock's my other one. Then
people said
it would be fun, but it's saying you missed the whole day.
He probably, I'm assuming, I don't know the answer. I don't think he has children. It would be hard to imagine
if
that
he
he's
did,
got kids.
God bless him.
Yeah, he's missing half their day.
How do those kids not wake him up if he has kids?
I don't think he has.
But,
I don't know for sure.
Let me ask this question real quick. What does that have to do with cramps? I thought you need to be hydrated and I didn't know
we didn't even go down that road yet.
I didn't know sleep prevented cramps.
I've never heard of that. Right. It's hydration.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm just like, listen, guys, I'm off. I didn't get my 14. Okay. I need my 14. But my thing is also the one other question I have that I'm curious about, and we'll have to get him on at some point. So you guys have those crazy travel trips sometimes where you suddenly get into the hotel at 4 a.m., then you got to be back at the park, whatever. He's a starter, so maybe he just sneaks in late. But I mean, you guys have had that many times in life, right? You get to the hotel from a road trip. It's super late.
Usually you can't sleep right away either. You got to wind down, man.
Yeah.
It's tough from the flights.
You're coming off a big card game too, usually.
Well, usually, but some days you're just having a beer or two and you're like dozing off, and next thing you know, you're like, man, I took a power nap. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a video game guy. I never was, but
that's just wild to me.
Whatever.
All right, so we're going to take our caller. So let's slap hands. So if you're on AMP, you can get on there for free. A follow at Foul Territory. We will take callers almost every day. So we'll bring someone on in just a minute. While we have a second, though, I do also want to kind of put some finishing touches on being out here in Cincinnati. This has been a really cool trip. It's been awesome to be at the ballpark for some shows, to be talking to the guys, because we're set up to do so much of this remotely, but to be able to, shake some hands, have some convos, bring the guys on the field, also hear the guys being like, hey, I'm watching, I'm listening, it's been cool to connect with a kind of larger group of players that are listening to the show.
I agree.
And they were genuinely excited to be on. Like they wanted to come on, which is so cool.
Yep, exactly. So we'll do some more thank yous. I think we got our caller of the day ready to go on AMP. So what is your name, your favorite team? What is your question or comment? And unmute yourself, please. That is actually very important. Press unmute on your phone. It is a big one. Trying.
Takes a second or two.
Bueller.
Trying. All right. We can swing back.
If you can hear us, just shout it out.
Yeah, if you can hear us, just interrupt us, but we'll try. Nope, not hearing him. All right. Oh well.
What are you gonna do?
It happens.
We tried.
Maybe you can message us. The one person we brought in. Oh, that got nothing right now. Oh well. Anyway, wanted to thank the Reds. Thank BetMGM for hosting us today, and the brand new sportsbook, also Nation Kitchen and Bar. You can see the logo behind me at the Banks here for setting us up with some pregame spread, which Todd Father's really good at crushing.
Nation has a really good burger, man. That's a good burger.
Yeah, impressive.
I give it 9 out of 10 burger right
Yeah,
delicious.
There you go. Todd's like the strictest ratings guy too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he gets good grub in Jersey.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
you got to impress this man.
You like La Rosa's?
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, if you ask me to grade, everything's 10 out of 10.
You got to go to Tom's River sometimes.
I don't
just take you on a tour.
I got a beer pong event coming up in November.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Fly you down.
To go to Gino's, right? Is it Gino's?
No, Gino.
You said Gino was. That was just an example.
No, it was an example.
Oh,
yeah.
Also, how about this guy making his FT debut this week?
Yeah, appreciate it, man. It was awesome.
It was awesome. Whole week and hanging out with the team. Yeah, it was fun. Danny with us. Thanks again to everyone, and also the BetMGM Sportsbook across the street from Cincinnati's ballpark, Great American Ballpark. It is open. Play some bets. Have some
We're getting
drinks.
giddy here. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, do your thing, baby. And this is, before happy hour with Todd Father. We'll see everyone on Thursday. Eric Kraft and AJ Brzezinski still exist.
Oh, they
will be back on the show with us on Thursday.
We want
Shane Bieber is joining us on Thursday.
I want you, Rocky.
You guys ever heard of Shane Bieber?
Never.
Shane Bieber's joining us on Thursday.
I'm a believer.
Biebs. Yeah, believe it on Thursday. We'll see you then.